Welcome back to the channel, my friend. If you love powerful voices, legendary songs, and those magical moments when music sends chills down your spine, then today's story is going to pull you right in. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever listened to a song in the studio version and thought, wow, this sounds amazing? But then you heard it performed live and suddenly the song felt completely different? Maybe more emotional? Maybe more powerful? Maybe even more real? That's exactly what we're diving into today. And the song at the center of it all is one of the most iconic songs ever written, the timeless Neapolitan masterpiece, O Sole Mio. Now imagine this. You're sitting in a quiet room with your headphones on. The orchestra begins softly. The melody rises like the sun over the sea, and a powerful voice enters, singing about the beauty of the sun after a storm. That's the studio version experience. Everything is polished, balanced, and perfect. But then imagine being inside a massive concert hall, the lights dim, the audience silent, and a singer walks onto the stage. The first note echoes through the room, and suddenly the song feels alive. The emotion is raw, the voice is stronger, the orchestra feels bigger, and the moment becomes unforgettable. That's the difference between studio magic and live electricity. O Sole Mio was written in 1898 by Edoardo di Capua and Giovanni Capuro. And from the very beginning, the song had something special about it. It wasn't just a melody, it was emotion, culture, sunshine, longing, and passion wrapped into music. Over the years, countless legendary singers have recorded the song, but something fascinating always happens when comparing the studio version to the live performance. The same song can feel like two completely different experiences. Let's start with the studio side. Studio recordings are carefully crafted environments. Singers step into a recording booth surrounded by microphones designed to capture every detail of their voice. Engineers adjust levels, balance instruments, remove imperfections, and sometimes record multiple takes until everything sounds flawless. The result is a version of the song that feels clean and perfect, almost like a painting where every color is carefully placed. Think about recordings by legendary voices like Luciano Pavarotti. When Pavarotti recorded O Sole Mio in the studio, every note was crystal clear. His voice filled the space with warmth and power, but the studio environment allowed listeners to hear every subtle detail. The breath control, the smooth transitions between notes, the perfect orchestral balance. It's the kind of recording you can listen to again and again, each time noticing something new. But here's where things get interesting. When that same singer performs the song live, something changes. The audience becomes part of the music. The energy of the room begins to shape the performance. Suddenly, the singer might hold a note longer, emphasize a phrase differently, or let emotion guide the voice in ways that would never happen in the studio. Now picture a live performance of O Sole Mio in a huge concert hall. The orchestra begins and the crowd instantly recognizes the melody. A wave of anticipation moves through the room. When the singer steps forward, the applause itself becomes part of the performance. The singer feeds off that energy, and suddenly the song grows bigger than the recording. That's something studio recordings can never fully capture. One of the most famous examples of this contrast happened during performances by the Italian trio Il Volo. When they recorded O Sole Mio in the studio, the harmonies between Piero Baroni, Ignazio Boschetto, and Gianluca Ginoble sounded perfectly blended. Every note was balanced, every harmony carefully layered. But when they perform the song live, something incredible happens. Each singer begins to add their own emotional touch. Maybe Ignazio holds a powerful high note a little longer. Maybe Piero adds extra strength to a dramatic phrase. Maybe Gianluca softens a section to make the next moment explode with emotion. The audience reacts instantly, cheering, clapping, sometimes even singing along. That interaction changes the entire experience. Here's something fascinating about live performances that most people don't think about. In the studio, singers hear themselves through headphones, perfectly controlled. But on stage, they hear the echo of the room, the orchestra behind them, and thousands of voices reacting in real time. That environment can push a singer to take risks. Have you ever noticed that sometimes a singer hits an even higher note during a live performance than in the studio version? That's adrenaline. That's the power of the moment. Another reason live versions feel different is because singers aren't confined to the exact timing of a recording. In the studio, the arrangement is fixed. Every second is planned. But live, the performer can stretch the music. A singer might pause before the final phrase of O Sole Mio, letting the orchestra build tension while the audience holds its breath. Then comes that famous line, the emotional climax of the song, and the entire hall erupts. Moments like that simply can't be recreated inside a recording booth. But here's where things get really interesting. Some music lovers actually prefer the studio version of songs like O Sole Mio, and honestly, there's a good reason for that. Studio recordings allow listeners to hear the song exactly as the composer intended, with every instrument perfectly balanced and every vocal phrase polished to perfection. It's like comparing a perfectly edited photograph to a live sunset. The photo may capture every detail beautifully, but the real sunset feels different because you're experiencing it in the moment. Live performances of O Sole Mio also reveal something else about singers, their personality. In the studio, singers often focus on technical perfection, but on stage, emotion becomes the driving force. A singer might smile at the audience, close their eyes during an emotional phrase, or even laugh if the crowd reacts loudly to a high note. Those spontaneous moments make live music unforgettable. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you watched a live performance online and suddenly felt goosebumps? Maybe the singer held a note longer than expected. Maybe the audience erupted into applause before the song even finished. Those moments are pure magic. And O Sole Mio is one of those rare songs that almost seems designed for that kind of magic. The melody rises and falls like waves, giving singers countless opportunities to express emotion. Every performer brings something different to the song. For example, when Luciano Pavarotti sang it live, the power of his voice could fill an entire stadium. When Il Volo performs it, the harmony between three voices creates a completely different emotional impact. And here's a question for you as you're watching this video. When you listen to a song like O Sole Mio, what matters more to you? Do you love the clean perfection of a studio recording, where every note is polished and precise? Or do you prefer the raw excitement of a live performance, where anything can happen and the singer's emotions guide the music? Think about that for a moment, because the truth is, both versions tell a different story. The studio version shows us the singer at their most controlled and refined. The live version shows us the artist in the moment, responding to the audience, the orchestra, and the emotions of the song itself. And that's what makes O Sole Mio such a fascinating piece of music, even more than a century after it was written. It continues to evolve every time someone sings it on stage. Now I want to hear from you. When you listen to O Sole Mio, do you prefer the live performance or the studio recording? Which version gives you goosebumps? Tell me your answer in the comments below, because I read every single one. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden stories behind legendary songs and powerful voices, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.